Welcome back, everybody. Episode 9 of the Fulfill Veteran Project podcast. And Jared, if you can, press mute for a second because I'm hearing a little bit of feedback on that end. I'll have you come back on here in a couple of seconds. So appreciate you guys coming out here. Jared's here today, and we're going to spend the next hour and a half, 2 hours chatting, get to know each other on what he's doing, what I'm doing, what we're doing together, and all that kind of good stuff. So Jared and I don't go back like some of my guests do. So we're going to learn a lot about each other and all that kind of stuff. So look forward to it. But I do self-promote and self-sponsor. That way I get to have the freedom of saying whatever the hell I want to. And we are on Rumble. We're on YouTube as well. I expect YouTube's going to keep cutting things down, shaving things off, and all that kind of stuff because they don't like saying fuck. So anyway, but I do. And so we're going to be on Rumble most of the time. So if you're looking for us, make sure you like, share, subscribe, support in any way you can. And especially my guests and all the stuff that we're doing. It ain't easy doing the stuff that we're doing out in front of camera. And I hope you acknowledge that. And this is why we have this podcast and others, and be able to get good veteran stories out there in front of other veterans, because only veterans really understand veterans. So appreciate your support there. So going back to some shameless plugs, I got two main things. One is, if you guys don't know who I am, you need to. Over the past 5 years, I have helped over 3,000 clients of mine. I help veterans receive the money that they've earned through their service. And on average, that is about $5,000 a month for non-retired veterans like me. For retired folks out there, that's about $7,500. And that is just cash in hand every single month. That's not even considering all the other money that's out there for you. So things like property tax reduction or removal, kids in college reduction and removal. It's insane, the amount of money. If you want to know what that is over a lifetime, average 40-year-old basic family of 4, you're looking at about $3 million. And a retired guy, you're probably looking at about $5 million. And that's crazy. You earned it, and the government's hiding it from you. So if you don't know who I am, I've delivered over, $3 million minimum to over 3,000 clients. That's over $10 billion. $10 billion. Yes, I'm going to say it again. $10 billion that I've delivered to you guys. And if you don't know about me, you need to. So I'm the best in the world. I've worked with mostly tier 1, tier 2 clients of mine. So that may be why you haven't heard about me, word of mouth. But now we're doing a lot more. I have podcasts, multiple podcasts actually, and interviewing a bunch of badasses out there doing good stuff. So anyway, but that's one thing. Another big thing that's coming up and coming out right now. At the time that I record this, it does take about a week to come out, but I have, as you guys have seen, and I've got a book deal for 4 books this year. And this is number 1 book that's coming out, The First 5 Fucks That Veterans Should Give. A lot of F words in here. So things like fitness, faith, family, keyword definitely being fast. Because most veterans look back and go, oh shit, where did that 5 years go? Where did that 10 years go? Where did that 20 years go? Shit like that. So that's what this book is another tool for you guys. And I'm sure you're going to love it. So if you haven't already, or if it hasn't happened already, so we're doing, this is, what day is this? This is the 14th of May, and in 10 days on the 24th, that's when it's going to actually go on sale for 1 day at 99 cents. Please support that. And if you did support it, I appreciate you. We'll probably celebrate it by then. But if you're in my time machine in the right way I'm thinking of, if you don't know the 24th, or mark it down on your calendar, 24th, and we'll put the links in the description, things like that below. Make sure you support us, help us get up to Amazon bestseller number 1. I've got a book deal for 4 books. That's all I'm going to do is over the next year is get books out to you guys and get up to number 1 best-selling list on those. And again, I get it. I'm just a tool to help you. That's it. Books are just tools to help you. But you have to have mentors like me, humans. You have to have roadmaps and manuals. Veterans know that. And I want to make sure that you guys are getting these books in your hands fast, because I'm here to help you. Every day I wake up, and that's if I can help 100 veterans a month, that's great. If I can help 1,000 veterans a month, that's better. If I can help 10,000 veterans a month, that's even better. So I think Jared would agree with that too. So that was my shameless plug for the book stuff. So all right, let's get over to Jared. Jared, go ahead and take yourself off mute. And as I move my chair around here, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, just in 1 or 2 minutes of what you did in the service and what you're doing now, so we can get to know each other a little better.
I originally joined active duty when I was 18, and Clinton was in office, so I got a reduction in force, and I spent exactly a year in the service. So September 11th happened. I wanted to get back in, and so I came back in the Indiana Army National Guard, and I was a mechanic for the Army National Guard. So I was fortunate enough to get a full time technician position, and so I still got Title 32 pay, Title 10 pay is active duty, but I got federal civilian pay. So as a civilian technician, at the same time I was in the guard, and I done that for a number of years, but there's like unwritten rules with that. So I found federal positions that were outside the National Guard. Well, I was still in the National Guard, but I worked for the Census Bureau. I worked for the Army Corps of Engineers. I worked for the Department of Navy, and I worked for the Coast Guard. So I've traveled all over the United States and got to see and interact with a bunch of different forces. And now I'm disabled. I got diagnosed with MS in 2019, and it's primary progressive. So I'm slowly losing the ability to do things with my legs and stuff. So I'm in a wheelchair pretty much anytime I'm outside the house now. And that's a quick rundown of me.
Now what are you doing? I see your shirt says something. What's that about?
The Hoosier Barkery. So when I got diagnosed with MS, I kind of needed a service dog. I was getting harder to walk, getting harder to pick things up off the ground. Uh, when I'd be in public, like trying to walk, uh, I call it road rage, but people get upset that you're slower than them, so they go around you, and when they go around you, they don't really look at what they're doing, so they kind of cut you off. Well, that would like make me have to like trip and almost fall over.
Hmm.
So I got a service dog to help with that. And when I first got my service dog, he had some bowel issues when I would give him treats from the stores.
Hmm.
And so we looked into what's the ingredients of the treats. Well, there's all kinds of stuff that are chemicals that I can't pronounce, that I don't know
Yeah.
what they are. This shouldn't be in treats. This shouldn't be anything that any living being is eating. So we started working on a recipe that was simple, that didn't have preservatives and things like that in it, that we could use as treats. And it kind of became something really good and then a good idea for everybody. So I started a business out of that.
Nice. And how many years in the service again?
I did 12 years total on the military side.
And where are you now?
I live in Brazil, Indiana, which is
Okay.
the only city named after the country.
That's fine. And what part of Indiana is that?
I'm on the western side of Indiana, like central in the state. So
Mhm.
I'm close to Terre Haute, which is
Okay.
like the largest city. I'm an hour from Indianapolis.
Mhm.
I love going to the Indy 500. So it's the month of May, and that's what's happening.
Yeah, that's cool, right? I got some tickets I'm going to go pick up tomorrow. We're not going to be at the 500. We'll be at the time trials, the Sunday time trials. I've got 5 kids, so all the kids are in school, so we can't do too many things all at once.
Yeah.
But we'll be there on Sunday, so I'm going to pick those tickets up tomorrow. And if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I am 44 years old.
Okay, yeah, we're about the same. I'm 43, turning 44 in July. What month is your birthday?
April. I just had my
Okay.
birthday.
Nice, awesome. Well, happy birthday. Well, so I definitely want to talk about the you having a dog with you. So what was your process? Because I'm in Indianapolis too now. Been here 11 years, or shit, 12 years now. But what was your process for getting the service dog?
Once I was kind of told I was going to be disabled, and it had been getting harder and harder for a long time. So I would tell people that I didn't know why I was having trouble, but if I walked 1,000 steps today, I could only walk 999 tomorrow, and I didn't understand why. I knew I was losing things. So once I was diagnosed with MS, then I started looking at service dog organizations. That there's plenty of organizations out there that give service dogs to veterans, no cost whatsoever. And I would call the organization, and it would be like the same rundown of questions, and it would always get to the question of, well, what kind of dog do you want? Well, I'm a bigger guy, and MS is gain weight, so I'm even bigger now than what I was. But I was like, I want a bigger dog, and I want a dog that doesn't shed a bunch because I can't get down on the ground and clean up like the hair and stuff. So all these organizations was like, that kind of dog don't exist. And I was like, there has to be that kind of dog out there. So I called Pausability. Pausability is in Louisville, Kentucky. They handle dogs in Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio area. And same rundown of questions, same answer. So the lady goes, "Oh, we got one of those ready in about 2 weeks. Can you wait 2 weeks?" I can't wait 2 weeks. What are you talking about? I was told I was going to have to wait years to get a dog.
Oh, wow.
And not even the type of dog I wanted. I was basically told, well, you're going to get whatever we give you. And I got the perfect dog. He's a Newfoundland and a poodle mix. So
Okay.
he weighs about 112 pounds. I was told he'd be about 150, but he's a little bit smaller. And everybody that sees him was like, "Whoa, that's a big dog." I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't see that he's a big dog. He's still, he cuddles up with me in bed. He lays on me when I get in the chair, and like he wants to go everywhere with me. If I'm leaving, he wants to absolutely go everywhere, and it doesn't matter." So, being the poodle mix, poodles have a tendency to be more allergic to different things. They have like stomach issues and stuff. They're more prone to having like allergies to just anything. So a lot of poodle owners, they have to really watch what kind of food they get anyways. Of course, I didn't know this when I got the dog, and now I've learned. So our treats, they're made for like my poodle, so he doesn't have any of those problems, but they're good for every single dog out there.
So talk me through. I'm gonna come back to the dog stuff here in a little bit too, because I know I've got a lot of clients that are curious about the service dog process, and I don't know anything about it, so I'd certainly love to know more from your perspective. But so how'd you get into your business? Talk me through that again, like decision of not only good idea, but actually making it happen. How did you start making it happen?
Well, of course, I knew nothing about having a business, running a business. I thought that people that started their own businesses, those people that they really had it down. They knew what they was doing. They had money in the bank. So if something happened, they could kind of be safe. And so I was pretty wrong about that. So if you're out there and you want to start a business, like there's no better time than the present, because you just need to start. And so my first step was I found a veterans business class that was put on, and I can't remember the organization's name, but the guy is actually out of Michigan, and he covers Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio, kind of the region. And so I went to like a 1-day class, and they go through like some legal things, like kind of, it's from anybody that just wants to start a business that has no idea, to people that have an idea that don't know where to start, to people that want to like get into buying a franchise and just being their own business owner that way. It covers all kinds of things. And then that person follows you and emails you back and forth, and really helps you out on, hey, try this or do this, or these are the people to talk to in your area. It was amazing the amount of help that I got just from that one class that I went. I got in touch with the small business organization that's local in Terre Haute, and through them, they work with ISU. I got a $7,500 grant to
Hmm.
where they went through and revamped my website and helped me with my labels, took professional pictures, like really set me up to where the company looked professional and we can move forward. Because when we started, it was kind of like a mom and pop type of labeling and everything. We was doing good, but these people actually know like consumers and
Mhm.
how to interact with consumers. So that was one heck of a kickstart that I was amazed by.
How long ago did you start doing all this?
2022 is when we actually started our business. So but around July of 2022,
Okay.
that we got everything kind of going. And once we started, uh, no one could really tell us like how to start a pet food company. So in most states, the state of Indiana is one of them. You have to get authorization through the like Department of Agriculture. So it's the Office of the State Chemist, and so we didn't know. And in the state of Indiana, there's a cottage law. So under the cottage law, it says you can make anything that's a baked good in your own home and sell it, and
Okay.
like you're good to go. You don't have to have any type of special permits or anything else because you're not commercial. So we believed we was under the cottage law, and finally the Office of the State Chemist through the Department of Agriculture at Purdue got a hold of us and said, "Nope, you're under us. You got to
Hmm.
pay uh, like a yearly fee for a license, and you got to pay a yearly fee for each product you sell." And
Wow. Of
so
course.
it kind of upset me a little bit, but we got around it. We pay the money, and now we're all certified.
Very cool. What volume are you looking at right now?
So for sales,
Mhm.
the amount that we do is not enough to really do anything, but we're not in the red. So,
Mhm.
we're staying in the black. Uh, we only sell in two local shops currently, and our two local shops they bring in about $150 a month profit
Mhm.
from everything that we pay to put into the shop, and then we go around and we do events, uh, like different vendor events. We set up our own little booth, and each vendor event will make between 150 and $300 on average between the events. So if we do two events a month, then we're making $500 to $600, and then another $150 from our other stuff. So it's not enough to retire off of,
Yeah.
and I'm not buying a new truck from it,
Mhm.
but it's definitely
Yet,
something that
yet.
we're trying to,
Yeah.
yeah. It's definitely
And it's
something that
scalable.
we're
That's what I was
trying
going
to
to
add
ask you.
value
Okay,
to.
it's you're here. The hard part's behind you. The hard part's behind you. But you
Yeah,
having the idea and you put in action. I mean, now I talk to just high caliber folks. I don't want to just say all of them are veterans. I mean, there are great teachers out there. There are great pastors out there. You have to have the idea and the drive and the grit and just the, dare I say, tenacity to show up tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Do you know how many people quit? Do you know people that just go, yeah, I'm fucking done? And it's funny because I'm gonna keep using this line from now on. There are people who let things happen, and there's people who make things happen. And you and I are guys who are making shit happen. Agreed?
but and I believe that the veteran side of me is what helps me not quit,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not going to go and do something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy like going out and conversing with the public and talking about the dogs and talking about my dog and like I don't see it as something that I'm losing on. I'm just not I enjoy it. I see as I'm currently building. So
Yeah.
today, I'm building. Tomorrow I'm building. Like, I'm eventually going to have enough building blocks all put together that it's going to take off on its own, and it's going to be bigger than
Mm.
anything I can possibly imagine. But I'm not going to quit because I know that that is a possibility.
There's so many linkages too of, like they say in business, reach out to the people that you know, like, and trust already. So you have a dog from a certain carrier, and I know we're jumping ahead a little bit here, but you could easily jump ahead and say, hey, these care dogs out there for veterans or other people. Uh, hey, I'm a veteran owned business, and I've got one of your dogs. Let's start with you. Let's start there, and then just take that model and just re oh, man, take it from there. You know what I mean? Just, I won't call it
Yeah.
reinvent the wheel, right? So what is it? What are your barriers there? I'm obviously thinking state lines and shit like that. So what's the barrier to, like you said, FDA and the other food people between states and shit?
Yeah. My current barrier, and this is the one that is kind of the biggest hurdle, I guess, is our manufacturing process. So, like I said, we're manufacturing everything at home. We're baking everything at home. Well, there's only so much you can do out of your home oven, your home kitchen, that you don't have the space in the oven to cook like enough things. So I've looked at commercial ovens, and we're like, well, where would we put that in the house? We don't have space for this thing that's huge. Like, a commercial oven is not small,
Yeah.
and so would we convert the garage over to like a commercial kitchen, basically, or do we go out and we get a commercial kitchen? And the scary part of that is, like, we're doing okay, and if we was a lot broader, we would be doing a lot better. But would we do well enough, and would we have enough time to do well enough to pay for, like, that hurdle?
Mhm.
So that's the one thing that's kind of keeping me back from expanding and being bigger and possibly making more money, is the fact that I have MS and I spent a lot of time each day in bed. That's what I do. But I can't. I was always the person that went out and did everything themselves. I grew up relatively poor, and I went in the military, so that's probably not unlike a lot of people. But because of that, because I went through not having things to where I could just use, you know, cash to pay for whatever, I had to make what I had. I had to take something that didn't work and make it work again, or take something that was not designed for whatever to make it work for me by refitting it, rebuilding it, doing whatever.
Mhm.
And that it helped me out on the mechanic side because I had that experience, that upbringing. I went in the military, and I was I was a wizard on making trucks run and doing things, because military vehicles, you can't just run down to the parts store and get a part for it. So I'd take stuff and make it work a lot well above what the manual says you can do. And so they actually called me the Magic Man, which was kind of crazy. I have a story about that, to where
Go ahead.
we had came back from a drill weekend in Fort Knox, and we have like a 2 hour convoy from Fort Knox to Madison, Indiana, where we were. And we get back, and they sound on the radio, "Hey, we're going to do a urinalysis." So everybody pulls in, shuts their truck off, goes inside. So they don't let them cool down. It's like 100 degrees. It's a hot day. So people are coming out, like, after your analysis and stuff, and I'm doing something, so I'm working, and I'm an E6. I'm the leader of the maintenance team, and we're with the cavalry unit. So this kid, I call him a kid. He was like an
Mhm.
E2 or E3. He comes up behind me. He's like standing at parade rest and stuff, and he starts talking to me. He's like, Sergeant, our truck won't start. So I don't even look back. I'm doing whatever. I'm like, put it neutral. It's a Humvee. You got to put it neutral for it to start. It's neutral safety switch. So so he's like, no, Sergeant, it's turning over, but it won't start. So I stop whatever I'm doing to turn around and look at him. I'm like, that's a problem. So I walk over. They got the hood up on the Humvee. Two of my other mechanics are standing there, and they're like scratching their head. They're like, we don't know. I mean, literally, they're like scratching their head. And so I walk up and I kind of lean over it, and I can just feel the heat coming off the engine. And I can see that it's an older model of the Humvee that it's about to be turned in, anyways. And the older models had an issue to where they would vapor lock because of the way the fuel pump was designed. So I knew this, like no one else really knew it. So I turn around and I look at the kid that brought me over and seeing if he's the driver, if like one of the other kids standing there as a driver, and I'm like, they're all E3s. I don't know which one's which. So well, I said, well, I'm not going to start your truck without a bottle of water. And they'll kind of look at me like, what? And then I'll go, I ain't going to start your truck without a bottle of water. And I just cross my arms and like lean up against the side of the truck. So they take off like the Keystone Cops. They're running into each other, trying to get me a bottle of water. So finally, one of them, comes up and he's like scared to give me this bottle because it's a half full bottle of water, but it's a Gatorade bottle with no cap on it. And it's probably something that he dumped out and got water out of the sink.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's thinking I'm going to like drink it or something. So I take it from him. I'm like, give me that bottle of water. And I dump it on the engine. And I reach in the window and I hit the start, and it fires up for a second and kind of sputters a little bit and dies. And I turn around and I go, well, I need more water. That wasn't enough water. And so then they're like, he needs water. And it's the Keystone Cops. They're running into each other trying to go get me a bottle of water. It's like a race now. So they come back with another Gatorade bottle, no cap on it, but it's got more water in it. So dump it on there. I fire it up and I turn around, and one of the kids, he takes his hat off and he throws his hat on the ground. He goes, no wonder why they call him the Magic Man. He just started my truck with water. And I'm like, hold on, you guys call me the Magic Man. Like I had no idea that I had this nickname, but that was the nickname that they called me. So
could have been worse.
Yeah.
I want to start talking about other nicknames we've had around here, but yeah, good stuff. Well, that's a good story. So funny. That's what's funny about like wisdom. People don't have talk about this a lot. There's so many smart people out there, but then there's just feels like we're in like a video game of these what they call those NPCs, just whatever people are, where they love being drones. They just love being, and I'm in my little cubicle and I'm here for me, and that's it.
The one thing I've never wanted to be is I call them sheep.
Yeah.
That one sheep runs one way, well, the whole flock will end up running after him to catch him. And they don't know why they're running. They just know that that's the direction they're running. So it's the same thing with people, that something happens and they just like follow the person in front of them. They just have a reaction and they don't even know why. They don't stop and question, well, what's actually happening. And that's something that I've felt that I always do, that I'll be a little bit more aware of my surroundings. Before the military, it was like that, but after the military, it's very much like that. That I gotta have a fix on what's going on around me, and I don't want anything happening that I don't know is going to happen.
Yeah, we got such a great idea too. I mean, I love that you got such a great idea. It's honed in on. I mean, pet food and just anything for pets. It is a billions of dollars a year industry. So
when I went to the veterans class, the guy he like pulls up this thing and he goes, most people that like big companies and stuff, they have to pay for this information, but because I'm with the veteran class, I get it for free. And he pulled it up and it was like a $4 billion a year industry for just treats, not pet food. Pet food's like another industry on top of that, but only the treat side of everything in the United States, not even worldwide, just in the United States, is like a $4 billion a year industry. And he goes, this is a perfect industry to get into, that everybody has pets. Like maybe not everybody has a dog, but everybody has pets. And that I if I started out with dog food, maybe, or dog treats, maybe I'd go on to dog food or something. But
or even
we've tried that.
So you got such a great idea and a great niche and so even just people love stories, right? So they would love to know, and people just love to know where their, let's say, food comes from, especially. So even if you, even if, or only if you were like, hey, you know what, I'm going to be the local Albert. I don't want to scale globally. I just want to be the hero of Brazil, Indiana. You could easily do that, you know?
Yeah. We actually have a chance to go up to Indianapolis for Carburation Day. They have an event on Speedway. It's called Rockin' on Main. And so I seen the event, and I was like, hey, can I come and set up? So at first they was like, nope, we're full. So the very next day they emailed me back and they said, look, we've worked some things around. If you still want to do it, we can fit you in. So I was like, yeah, how much are you going to charge? Because vendor events, you always got to pay a fee to be in the event. And they're like, oh, there's no fee. Like, just show up.
Nice.
So I'm hoping that it really turns out super well. Then we get kind of the attention of some bigger names and people that have connections.
That's super cool. And are you? It sounds like you're a for-profit. I don't know if you can do nonprofit food stuff, so I'm guessing for-profit. We didn't say that, so I'm a for-profit, so we can talk about that.
Yeah,
talk about being for-profits.
Technically, I'm for-profit. Like I don't do a non-profit thing, but we do a lot of community involvement. So the local humane shelter, we give a bag of treats to any dog that's adopted.
Yeah.
So that we printed out a flyer and we gave the humane shelter. It's like, hey, if you adopted a dog, like this dog's like going through the sheltered stuff, some of them have a pretty traumatic past, and we just want these dogs to be happy. We want the owners to be happy with the dog, because there is a few dogs that they try to go adopt them, and the dog and the person, they don't work out together, and they got to bring them back. So we're like, hey, we'll give a free bag of treats to whoever adopts a dog. So we do that in Clay County, and we do that in Greencastle, which is Putnam County. And Putnam County, the Parks Department and the Humane Shelter there work together real closely. So they wanted to have more community involvement. So this past Christmas, they wanted to have a dog and Santa photo session where you could come and you could donate some money to the Humane Shelter and get your dog's picture taken with Santa. So they reached out to us and said, would you like to donate treats for this event? And I said, yeah, we definitely want to donate treats to this event. So all the treats that they used to make the dogs look good in the pictures and stuff were our treats. And since we did that, then they had an Easter egg hunt. They had a dog's Easter egg hunt. And they said, will you donate treats to the Easter egg hunt? We donated over 800 treats to put Easter eggs, so the dogs in Putnam County could have their little Easter egg hunt. And the good part is we get to show up at these events and be present and kind of show our face and stuff. So it's not just they don't know who we are, but we get to watch like these people and their dogs react. And there was one, he was a German Shepherd puppy, and he was going out on the Easter egg hunt, and he would pick up an egg, he would crack it open because it's just a little plastic egg with his mouth, As soon as it cracked it open, it would drop the treat. He would drop the egg, pick up the treat. He was off to the next one. He understood exactly what to
He
do,
figured it out.
and they
Shit.
they all love. So we say that our treats are pup tested, pup approved. Because at home here we have 8 dogs.
Mhm.
4 of them are all the Newfoundland poodles from the same parents. So we do not sell any products that our dogs don't enjoy and absolutely love themselves. We got some sweet potatoes and sliced them up real thin with the slicer we had. Put them in the dehydrator. We got a dehydrator. We thought, oh, dogs are going to love these. Dehydrated these sweet potatoes. They would not touch them. They would not eat a single one of them. I ate one, and I'm like, we put a little salt on that, and this is a good snack. The dogs didn't like them. We don't sell dehydrated sweet potatoes, even though we've had people ask for them, and we're like, no, we won't sell them because our dogs don't love them, so we can't trust that your dog's going to love it.
Yeah.
So everybody that does buy our treats, we've heard from countless people, my dog loves your treats well above anything else. Like we've tried to like coax our dog, like at a milk bone and your treat, and like it's like, here, take this one, and the dog would go to our treat
It's like the
every
Pepsi
time.
challenge or whatever.
like a little Pepsi challenge for the dogs, and our treats went out every time. So it's like, well, we like hearing that, but it's like we want you to buy more treats.
That's cool. So something that I haven't really talked about is that, so like I said, one of my menus that I help, there's 2 main menus that I have. There's one menu that helps veterans with all their money. Another menu that I have is helping veteran business owners get their empire going. So it could be a profit, nonprofit, it could be mom and pop, it could be multiple $1 billion and that kind of stuff. So I am one of those guys who knows people and has a lot of connections. So it's probably the first time you're hearing this, and that's fine. We're getting to know each other. We don't know each other, but yeah. So there's definitely so much more that you and I can talk about, because you're one of those guys that has a brilliant idea and a brilliant backstory, and you have options to be scalable or just the hero of mom and popville, and you can do whatever you want. I mean, you and I are still young, man. Guys that are 20 years older than us go, you guys are youngsters still, so you got plenty of time. So
there's a lot of places that we've looked into that you can go online and buy treats, and the treats probably come out of somewhere like China because they're not expensive. God. And then you could repackage them yourself and sell them as your treats. Like it's like the perfectly legal thing to do. But our treats, we say they're homemade. Like even if we got a commercial kitchen, like we would still be making them. They'd be the same way to make them and stuff. And so a lot of people that I just talked to a guy this past weekend that was from Chicago, and he's like, so you guys make all these treats? And we're like, yeah, we make them at our home. And he was overly impressed because he goes to a coffee shop or something, he said, and they have dog treats, but they're like milk bones. And he goes, same thing, like when I go to the bank drive-through, like if I have my dog with me, they'll send out a little treat, and my dog will put it in his mouth, but then it'll drop it. It won't eat it. So he was going to try ours and see if his dog would eat our treats, and I haven't heard back from him yet, but he bought more. It was a bigger bundle than anybody else that he wanted to make sure he had enough. And so we do shipping, but our main sales is everything here local.
Yeah. So I've got 2 dogs downstairs. I got a Frenchie, and they're both less than a year old. Frenchie's about to be a year old. And then we've got another dog, Australian Shepherd mixed with, what do they call it? The Aussie Doodle. So anyway, we'll talk about that here. But then we've had 5 cats. One of them died. Another one went crazy. And so we've got 3 indoor outdoor cats that just completely take over the neighborhood and we leave the windows open and stuff like that, or doors open, and the cats run in and out and stay in and out, and everybody knows our cats. So anyhow, but so I'm curious. You mentioned like some barriers to growth. So based off of like you said, not FDA, but who is it? Not FDA. Who is it that's in
The
the
Department of Agriculture
agriculture?
handles
Okay.
all the pet food stuff.
So say you do go to a commercial kitchen, but it's like a small thing. You know what I mean? Like what does that do? What, dare I say, barrier? What paperwork do you have to do to make that happen?
If we would make our products in a commercial kitchen versus home,
Yeah.
there's no barrier. When we first started and we was under the cottage law, there would have been a barrier. So the cottage law says that the baked goods have to be made in your home or a structure on your property, basically. Like it has to be like at your place. So we could have converted our garage into a commercial kitchen, and it still would have been made inside of our home. But if we go outside of our property, say we go and we rent a building and we's under the cottage law, then we couldn't be under the cottage law anymore. But because we're not under the cottage law, there's no restriction. Like we could have a whole factory pumping these out as big as Purina or like one of the other manufacturers, and we'd still pay the same fees to be able to sell our treats.
So you get a kick out of this. I grew up on a cattle ranch in Texas, and I'm always thinking like how to expand certain things. And so I grew up going to feed stores and all that kind of stuff. And so just I'm trying to think of like the different agencies that are out there. So like you said, FDA and all that kind of stuff. So if your product is like you said, words that you know, sweet potato as opposed to blah, 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 weird chemical that you can't fucking figure out what the hell it is. And you're using like, and I was in culinary school too, by the way, because I learned how to cook because I just want to be better at cooking for my family. And I worked with a lot of restaurateurs that were mentors of mine, stuff like that. And I'm a foodie, man. I love food. I love different levels of alcohol stuff. It could be wine. It could be, bourbons and stuff like that, good cocktails and all that kind of stuff. And what I'm always thinking of is like, go with me on this coffee. Let's talk about coffee versus dog treats. So coffee, there's only one place you can get fucking coffee, like coffee beans, right? So that's a hard one. So if somehow the sun exploded and burned up all the coffee bean area, coffee's fucking, which I'm drinking coffee right now, by the way. So the coffee industry is dead in one fell swoop of a weird, like, did you know this is a weird connection, but there's these giant olive trees that have been in Italy for, I don't even know how long, a crazy amount of time. And there was some bug that came through and killed all of them. And when you see these giant olive trees that are just literally skeletons, it's spooky. So anyhow, could that happen to coffee at some point in time? Probably. But my point is, so coffee, if you've got, I'm thinking scalability here. So if you've got coffee all around the world, different producers, Egypt this or Brazil that, whatever, and then a Indianapolis-based coffee company like Tinker Street Coffee or whatever. So let's say you go to Tinker Street and they have one roaster there, one machine roasting, but they're a small shop. So they've got an in-house roasting machine, an in-house roaster, just like breweries have in-house brewers. And so going back to coffee, if you got in-house coffee roaster, machine and human, one machine, one human, but they're small, and they go, you know what? We don't need to make our stuff every day. We just need to make it to order for our stuff in-house, but then we can lease our time out to other roasters. And I don't know who other roasters are around Indianapolis area, but there's probably some small ones like Blue Anchor or some shit like that that goes, you know what? I want to come out here and roast. Tinker, can you roast my stuff for me?
You're talking about partnerships, and I've definitely tried to look into doing a partnership with like a bread company because they would have giant ovens to make the bread
Mhm.
and pretty much all the same ingredients that we use, apart from the flavor, like the peanut butter, the
Yeah.
apple, the pumpkin. But we just use whole wheat flour, the flavor, and then egg. So
Hmm.
it's very simple ingredients,
Yeah.
and
I was gonna say, like,
we have
human grade,
to
food
cook
grade
it
stuff.
where
You're not throwing a bunch of weird shit in there. So,
yeah, we have to cook it to where it's below a certain moisture content. So when we package it, it stays uh, without
yeah.
molding or anything. That we make them too soft, they got too much moisture in them. They do start to mold. But in our package, we put an oxygen absorber in the packaging, and we guarantee them for 90 days.
Hmm.
But I haven't, like, even though I've reached out to several companies here in Indiana because it's important that it stays Indiana made. It's called the
Hmm.
Hoosier Barkery because
Yeah.
Indiana's the Hoosier state. Uh, so I want it to stay in Indiana, but I haven't got anything back. Like most of the bread companies, the headquarters are located outside Indiana, and
Hmm.
they they're only concerned with cooking bread. I've also thought about getting a pizza oven and making like a conveyor belt
Yeah.
that if it can cook pizza in
Hmm.
15 or 20 minutes, it should be able to cook
Well,
dog treats. But that's
I worked at
I
a
would
pizza
have to
shop
spend
once, so yeah, I get you. I know what that's
I
like.
would have to
It
spend
was
the
that
money
thing. It
to
was
get
that
a pizza
conveyor
oven
belt.
just to try it out because I can't
Yeah.
get any pizza place to say, yeah, come in and see if your dog treats cook in our oven and check the temperature around and do what you need to
Yeah.
do.
It'd be a fun partnership, you know? I mean, even again, starting out micro local, like proving the concept that, hey, I'm thinking of my days of working at that pizza place where we did that. It was conveyor belt and the oven's always got to be on. And when you, the pizza place I worked at, it's not a big name, so I'm not scared to say it. But I remember we'd put it on, the dough was on a tray, so you put that in there. So I'm not saying you have like a pizza dough in there and a fucking whatever dog tray at the same time, but who gives a shit? Like, it's an oven. It's going to like cook off, like you said, that any I won't call it impurities, but anyhow. But yeah, that's interesting. I think you got the ability to play with that, and you just gotta keep playing with it. And because yeah, I was going back to the original. I thought you had some barriers due to like FDA stuff or whatever, but those aren't there. And I'm that kind of guy of like, if I'm unleashed, watch out, world, watch out. And I think
Well,
you're the same. That you're like, hey, I now I'm unleashed. I have no barriers. Let's fucking do this. But like you said, you want to make it your way and have your Indiana staple on it and stamp on it. And I'm digging that. So interesting.
my my son just turned 18, and so he's got like the public schools education and stuff, and so he sees things and everything's got a he's blocked. He can't do this. He
Mm-hmm.
sees something, he's like, oh, I can't do that. I'm like, yeah, you can. You just go do it. So me and my dad, like, we both have the same kind of mindset to where if we decide to do something, if we decide
Oh,
to launch a rocket into space from our backyard, we will eventually do it. Like, I might not know how to do it today, but I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to do
mhm.
it, and it'll be done. And I want to do it even better if you say I can't.
Oh yeah, I've been told no more than an ugly stripper, man. I'm telling you. I, I went from being enlisted. I was just like you. I grew up on a cattle ranch. I got out, went in the army at 18. Got told no multiple times before I even got in, and started out in the infantry in the army for a couple of years doing that. I was at E2 starting out, and by the time I was done, almost 20 years later, I got out 03E as a captain flying. I was a medevac pilot and captain, so I flew medevac missions over in Afghanistan. So that's why my logo looks the way it does. So, but you can't tell me no. I'll hear you, but I'm just gonna go. All right, I guess I'll go somehow maneuver around this obstacle because my positive grit is going to outweigh somebody else's negative grit. And I'm a winner. And it may take me 7 years to get in the cockpit. It may take me 10 years to get my son in my house and the way I want it to be. It may take me whatever. But my point back to you is, you and I started out the same with our businesses. And here it is. I'm 5 years in, and I've helped deliver over $10 billion to my clients. And my clients are SEAL teams and Delta dudes and MARSOC and 160th and fighter pilots and stuff. How do you get there? You get there by doing the right thing the right way. And 2 words that I always talk about is trust and performance. So just keep doing what you're doing and do it your way. And people buy for your way. I think people are, that's why I'm doing the podcast too. I want to inspire the veterans out there. Like, we know what Black Rifle Coffee is. We know what 9-line apparel is. We know what grunt style apparel is and stuff like that. I want everybody to go, oh, Jared, holy shit, he's that guy that has the crazy connections with all the dogs treats and stuff. And man, that dude's $1 billion a year company. That's what I want to help you do.
Yeah, I would like to make it there.
Because you're just like another client of mine. He too has, he's I'll call him a younger guy, but he's finishing up a master's degree right now. And he's a Marine, did a couple years in the Corps. And man, he's got this great idea. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but he has this great idea that's just like most things, subscription. And that guarantees that you have people under contract like I get to look at my from 10 feet away, I call it 10 feet away. I can look at how many clients do I have this month under contract? What money do I have under contract? Doesn't mean I have money in the bank, but they've signed a contract. They've agreed to whatever payment plan of $500 a month or whatever, $1,000 for this or whatever. And we know that that's an invoice that's sent to them, and they're going to end up paying that invoice, and we track all that stuff. And anyway, but that's what I help guide you guys through too, is just do that idea and scale that idea and just keep driving forwards, and I want to make sure that you guys out there know that you're not alone. I mean, I know Jared has spent a lot of time getting dumped on his butt and being told no, and you got to do this and do that. And he's learned that there's a lot of people out there who are just naysayers and shit. Just keep moving forwards and get it done, get started, get going, keep going, make it work. That's all you can do. It's the only option you have. Make it work. But yeah, you got a great idea. And you need to keep moving forwards on that. Something that you need to know about too, just as a side note, is I'm going to say their name backwards because I always say it backwards. There we go. Public Square. So Public Square, right? Yeah, Public Square. If you don't know about that, Jared, start looking at that. So Public Square, if you haven't heard of I always say it backwards. Public Square. There we go. Public Square. So Public Square, if you don't know what this is, it's Amazon for conservatives. And right now it's not that much to be on there. And they've got different groupings like veteran owned and veteran supporting and stuff like that. And I think I don't want to make their sales pitch, but it's like $500 a month to be on there because it's so young. But I was at one of their town halls not too long ago, and it was the CEO and one of the town hall members from the stage is Donald Trump Jr. And that was in Indianapolis. They actually kicked off their town hall tour here in Indianapolis, and I was there. So I'm happy to show you pictures of that. So it's good shit. And we're on there, but I'm trying to get on there better for us. Put our book on there and stuff like that here soon. But yeah, just for some scalability. I mean, we'll go back to like commercial kitchens and stuff. There's so many ideas there. If you got food grade product, and I'm curious, quality product made in the US / made in Indiana, great story behind it.
I've
Probably not.
even reached out. There's one peanut butter manufacturer in Indiana,
Mhm.
and so I got a hold of him, and he's like, "Yeah, our products like we don't make everything from scratch. Like the ingredients they get, they already have like other stuff in them and everything. Because we use peanut butter that's only peanuts and salt.
Mhm.
So I reached out to him and I was like, can you make me a peanut butter that's as basic as possible? That like basically, peanuts and salt is what we use now. And he's like, no, can't do that. So I was even trying to keep the sourcing of the ingredients that I use here local. And I've my buddy, he raises chickens, and
Mhm.
so I've thought about getting my own chickens to have my own eggs, and so I wouldn't have to source eggs from somewhere else, that they would come
Mhm.
from right here in Indiana. That I have a guy I went to school with, that his dad owns a like an old style like stone mill,
Oh yeah.
and it's in it's here in Indiana. And I was like, "Can I get some whole wheat flour from you guys?" And he's like, "Well, our wheat comes from like Wyoming or South Dakota or somewhere, like it comes from somewhere far away." And I was like, "Well, it's like I'm looking for like Indiana
Mhm.
stuff." But that's been my focus, which being made in Indiana is different than being all sourced from Indiana. Uh,
Yeah.
so I might have to venture outside the state lines to get everything done.
I don't think anybody fault you for that. You know what I mean? As long as you're the guy that tracks farm to table, know where the
Yeah,
ingredients come from. That's most important. I mean, God, man. I mean, I'm drinking out of a copper cup, and I've got like mason jars and shit like that to drink out of because I don't like drinking out of fucking plastic and stuff. Because I guarantee you, fucking copper is better than plastic.
what when I was young, my grandmother had it was a small like aluminum cup, and I absolutely loved using an aluminum cup. Of course, it looked terrible because it was uh, like anodized blue, but of course
Mm-hmm.
the coating was coming off of it with chips and everything else from getting scratched and washed and everything. But for some reason, whatever I drank out of that cup, it was like because of the metal on it, it tasted colder. So you put water or whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
you didn't have to put any ice in it. Like you go to drink the stuff out of the cup, and it just tasted colder. And I'm like, why doesn't everybody use this?
Mm-hmm. It's crazy, man. Yeah, it's funny. You just never know. Oh, well, let me get back to something on. I was thinking of who's the ketchup people? Red Gold. They're
Oh
Indiana.
yeah, you got the
My point is
Heinz
they
and Red
the
Gold
but they
was the
support,
tomatoes.
yeah, Red Gold. So they support a lot of veteran stuff. So I'm just throwing it out there. They may know something. Get mentors who can. You have to have a human. You have to have mentors. You have to have somebody you can call, and you have to have a model. Like it could be a book, or that's why consultants make so much money, and engineers make money, and they have a plan. You have to have a plan to get to an outcome, right? And if you're like, okay, here's my personal restrictions and personal barriers because I want to keep this Indiana based, I'm going to need to know some people who can make this shit happen. So hey, I would highly suggest you reach out to the Red Gold people. They're so supportive of the veterans. I know they work with uh, even just them knowing about you. It's not that it doesn't mean they're donating anything to you, or just you being on their radar and in Indiana and a veteran. That's just good shit stacking up. And then a couple
Yeah,
years later, they look back or maybe something good happens fast, and they go, "Hey, you know what? We can, even though you're a for profit, we can help fund blah 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 whatever we can." It's crazy how anybody can go, Jared. Here you go. Here I support you with something. I'll buy the oven for you, and I'll write it off of my taxes, kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Do a
Let those
Shark
guys
Tank
make that
model.
decision.
I'll buy you this, but we get so much in return.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it is, man. I mean, here's something weird that we haven't really talked about on air yet, but hot showers have only been around like what, 60 years?
Yeah.
And guys like you and I, we grew up hot shower. Go get in the tub, turn on the red one, and it gets hot. That was a luxury our grandparents didn't even have growing up. So you and I have lived in a little softer world than has ever been around ever. And we forget that we're humans, that we're like hairless fucking monkeys, and that we're tribal people. So that's what I love about veterans. Veterans only understand veterans. Veterans want to help veterans. Veterans want to join forces with veterans. But veterans are also silent professionals. That's why I've got a podcast now to go, hey, I'm helping. Jared's helping. Let's do shit together. Let's do good shit. So, but I'm sure somebody over there at Ketchup World would love to have even just knowledge base of you, keep their eye on you, and let them make that decision. There's personalities. I talk about this with my clients. There's personalities for a reason, and I think of airborne personalities. Just 3 different types. Some people want to jump early, others want to jump in the middle, others want to wait until they see whatever level of results for them to jump in. That's okay. But guys like Jared and me will probably hey man, I want to jump out first. Somebody at some big company is going to go, hey Jared, I'll fund that for you. No big deal. Right now Jared thinks $1,000 is a lot of money. Somebody at Ketchup World or any other big company out there, they're like, no man, no big deal. Oh, you need 40 grand? Okay, we'll give you 40 grand. We'll buy that thing for you. You're doing good shit, helping veterans out. We'll buy that for you. Somebody out there says things like that.
I got a saying that I'll be out. I'll be doing something. It could be something as little as a back into a parking space, combat parking.
Mm-hmm.
I still do that. So I got an easy, good exit. It's easier to pull out than it is to back out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll pull into a restaurant so we can go in and eat. There won't be anybody backed into a space. I'll back in. I'll come out after eating 30, 45 minutes later, whatever. And there'll be 6 or 7 cars lined up next to mine in the parking lot that's all backed in. And I'll be like, oh, look, I'm a trendsetter. And so I say that all the time, that about doing little things or whatever. And then all of a sudden, everybody else starts doing them. So if you're a veteran and you want to start a business, like, find other veterans that have started a business and become friends with them. That if you got 5 friends and 4 of those friends are millionaires, you're going to be a millionaire too. Like it's
law of statistics.
Yeah, it's law of statistics. So it's who you hang around with, who you associate with, who you're close to. So it's the same thing. Like you're saying, to contact the red gold people. That's a huge successful company, and if they're friendly to veterans, then that's somebody definitely that I want to be friendly with too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what's nice is you can always ask that question of, well, if it's not right for you, Mr. Ketchup person who I'm talking to right this second, who do you think at the business who would like to have, who should I have a discussion with? Well, that's our other kind of director over here. There's so many other people in the C-suite, maybe a marketing person, maybe a CFO or some shit like that, chief financial officer or something like that, or sub director of something. Could be just anything. They're Indiana based. They love veterans. What's on the bottle of their ketchup? Folds of Honor. Folds of Honor. If you don't know about Folds of Honor, oh my gosh, I know. I actually know the president of the Indiana chapter of Folds of Honor. I can't think of his name right this second, but yeah, he and I go back probably. He's a former Air Force dude, enlisted guy, and yeah, I know him. He and I have had one-on-one chats behind the scenes. So, but yeah, it's not hard, man. No, and guess where they'll be? I'm guessing same place you're talking about, being around Indy 500, so out there on Main Street somewhere.
Yeah,
That's how much
this
you know
weekend
about.
is the Armed Forces qualifying weekend. So
Mhm.
anybody with a like a veteran ID. So my last year my VA ID that said I'm a veteran got me in.
Mhm.
Uh, a retired ID, like if you're active duty, whatever.
Mhm.
You get in for free this
Hmm.
weekend to watch the qualifying.
Oh, shit, I can take mine there. Well, and something else too, since you're a big fan of racing, the another big fan of racing is Wish for Our Heroes.
Yeah,
And if you don't know who they are, I know there's they keep bouncing back and forth, but there's the guy that's here in Indiana, and then there's the guy that's out of San Antonio. Jeff is in San Antonio, and God damn it, I see it. Eric Orick is the Indianapolis-based leader. So whenever you need connection to them, let me know. And they're always out. I'm sure you know this. They're at the race all the time, and
yeah.
they,
Every time I head up, I go over and give at least a couple dollars. They had a donate $1, you get to spin the wheel. So I spun the wheel and it said you pick, and I was like, well, what's the you pick? And I got a little like survival bracelet thing
Mhm.
for a dollar donation. So I'm happy, and they get
Yeah.
money, and I love supporting them because they're always out there. They're always working hard.
Mm-hmm. They got good shit. I'm trying to think of something else with them. You're talking about donating $1 and that kind of thing. Um, I always think of it this way, like you're talking about mentors and paths. Feel free to let people know what you have going on. Like now, I wear this everywhere, and there was a guy who different side story, but proof to what I'm talking about. There was I don't remember if he was a football player or basketball. Either way, he was a professional athlete. Just like most people in the professional athlete world, he was getting paid a lot of money for a short period of time, and he blew that money so damn fast because he always had his entourage, and so he learned a lot of negative lessons of how quickly it can burn through all your money if you're doing a bunch of dumb shit. So he did a bunch of dumb shit. And going back to apparel, and my point to this is, he said that he remembers vividly, and I was in the room as he was telling the story. So he said that he had like $200 left, and he made his first order for T-shirts that had his name and logo and stuff on it. And his order was like 170 something dollars. So he had the money, and he put the money up, and he said that was whatever 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago or something. He said I just now made another order for that same T-shirt, but it was a $20,000 order. So my point is to everybody, Jared included, have your shit and be fucking proud of it. If it's your baby, be proud of it because you know there's value in it. I don't say you have to convince people, but people see the value, especially with pet products. I mean, holy crap, that's a no-brainer. Pets are, especially feeding pets treats. That is such a. I'm so glad that you made that choice in life because it's such an easy yes. if a like our dogs, the Frenchie, we were feeding her stuff the first couple of weeks and months or whatever, or a couple of weeks, a couple of days that she was here, and man, just certain things don't sit with a dog, a cat, a whatever, a pet.
Yeah,
And like you said, basic food, and then there's treat stuff. And oh my god, man, these veterinarian approved crap. But hey, my dog is not not digesting this properly. Trust me, it is everywhere, all over my house, and I'm the one picking it up in liquid form. That's not supposed to happen. That's not supposed to happen. So it's an easy yes for somebody who like you said, is pup approved. That yeah, if it works in your house, it's going to work in somebody else's house, and when it works in their house, they want to buy it from you. And It's an easy yes. Like I'll give you even just easier. I mean,
there's so many little things that dogs can't have, and everybody should know that dogs can't have chocolate. Chocolate doesn't sit well with dogs. But there's other little things. There's garlic, there's onions, there's small little things that you wouldn't really think, like they're not supposed to have grapes or raisins, which I've seen dogs eat grapes and raisins before. I've seen them eat chocolate before, but I don't know. So we was very careful on when we came out with our recipes and was working on our recipes and everything to figure out what a dog can have, what a dog can't have, what a dog shouldn't have. Maybe they can have it, but they really shouldn't. And eliminate the things that are bad. Only focus on the good, and then find out how we can get them to work together to where we can make something that holds together, that we can actually have as a product, and not so much a commercial product, but something that we'd keep for ourselves. And so once we found out that what we'd keep for ourselves, like that's what the commercial product came from, is what we was actually using. So it's not like we're trying to pass off something like, vet saying, "Oh, this is, I'll approve this." Like the stuff that we approve, we give to our own pets. And I think that's a huge thing, because so many things that are in the store that says they're approved by veterinarians or whatever, and you look at the ingredients and like, this is not good stuff. Are they actually giving it to their own pets, or like, you can't really trust that?
Right? Yeah.
So that's one thing that I like to stand on, that like, hey, we give these to our pets. Like that's our motto: pup tested, pup approved, because our pups tested them, our pups approved them. Like we won't let other products pass through, because like I said, the sweet potatoes, I thought that would be a great thing. There's people that says, "Oh, my dog loves sweet potatoes. Why don't you make potatoes?" I'm like, yeah, ain't gonna do it, because my dogs won't eat it. I won't make anything
That's
that
just
my
crazy. I
dog
mean, even if you have like the 3 levels of dogs or whatever, small, medium, and large dogs and stuff like that. Like
yeah, and we have a
if you just
Chihuahua.
did
We have
one type of dog, like you said, large dog. Even if you're in the only large dog, that's still giant industry. I mean, I saw a Great Dane in Cincinnati yesterday, or the last weekend, over the weekend, Mother's Day weekend. Those things eat a truckload. So, yeah, I mean, if you're making a very small menu for very small dogs, you could probably charge more, whatever. But you just gotta look at your margins, And I know we're talking about being in the red and being in the black, and I love seeing being in the green, because it's better than the word black. So, because most people non-business don't know what that
the
means.
links to my webpage and the Facebook page and everything that we got. So I know you'll post them with the video, and
Definitely.
that people can go look at our stuff and everything.
Yeah, definitely.
We make a variety of sizes, from small dogs to big dogs, and we even do training treats, that little tiny treats that you can go out and you don't have to worry about feeding too many to them or whatever, because they're so small.
Yeah. And that's what's so interesting too. I mean, going back to even training, because I'm thinking, so here's something that you need to know about, and everybody else out there needs to know. So I help my business clients in their empire either get it. There's going to be some G's and P's in here. So get it growing, get it going, or get it going, get it growing, keep it growing, that kind of stuff. And the P's are things like you have to prove yourself first, right? You have to go through what Jared's been through already. You got to do a lot of paperwork and have EINs and have tax, blah, 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 and all that kind of shit. Build your website out and all that kind of stuff. So you got to get through all this manual of crap in the very beginning to get things going. But then once you do that, once you get past that first part, then you start getting, then you start proving yourself. And like you said, it could be maybe for a profit. It could be, I always think of the 3 things that I've delivered. I've delivered the amount of money that I've delivered to people, to the people I've delivered it to, and in the time frame that I've delivered it. So in less than 5 years, I delivered $10 billion to the deadliest humans on earth. Right? And Jared is out there doing fast stuff with the dogs he's working with, and with his backstory, he's been through things that nobody else. Like I couldn't replicate Jared. I couldn't replicate. There's no Albert can't or I can't replicate Jared. Jared can't replicate me. Right. So, and what we do is we get stuck in our own head, going, "Well, I don't know. Let me prove this." So you prove yourself for a while, and then you start partnering. That's where I am. That's where Jared is. Is you get to whether that may be your first $1 million or your first clients that you're getting, and rather than chicken or the egg, say yes to both. Work both angles. That well, I get stuck on this too? Do I need more videos in order to have more clients, or do I need to have more clients to have more videos? Yes, but set yourself goals. Like if I help 100 veterans a month, that may sound good, but I want to help 1,000 veterans a month. If I help 1,000 veterans a month, that's good, but I want to help 10,000 veterans a month. Jared's probably going the same thing. Hey, you know what? In order to do the bigger things, I need to do smaller things first. Before I buy a $20 million house in Florida on the beach, I need to do these things. So, Jared, back to like partnerships, because I know that's what's going to happen. Some nonprofit is going to want to know what your scalability is on able to deliver goods to them. And man, I work with so many freaking police units out there too. Police dogs need to eat food, right?
Yeah. I had a drunk driver drive through my
Mhm.
yard and hit a parked truck that was actually for sale out by the road and totaled the truck.
Oh shit.
So uh the sheriff that showed up on scene was the sheriff of the K9 unit.
Hmm.
So we went out and we gave him a couple bags of treats, and he's like, how much are these? Like, no, it's like you take them. Tell us if your dog likes them. That's all we want to know.
Mhm. Hmm.
So we get to see him a couple weeks later, and we're like, hey, we gave you those treats. Do you remember? He's like, oh yeah. He goes, my dog absolutely loved those treats. He goes, there's some treats that I buy that I got to clean up, just like what you was talking about.
Mhm.
He goes, but I didn't have to clean up anything from your treats.
Mhm.
So that kind of showed that our treats are something that his dog does like, but they're better like health wise for a dog that it's
Okay,
something
see,
that
it's active, right? You've got your athletes, right? You got
yeah.
your athlete dogs that need to be athlete ready. You don't need a dog that's shitting its ass out as it's out there as a canine dog needing to do its damn job. And so, by the way, anybody out there that's in the Galveston Police Department, hi, all the veterans out there in Galveston Police Department. So, and then that moved up into Houston area. Now I'm above Houston, LAPD. You guys are my clients too. So, hi. Uh, man, I've got clients in all just going to law enforcement. I've got Border Patrol clients of mine, CIA, FBI, DEA. I already said Border Patrol. Central America doing drug interdiction down there in Costa Rica. Those guys are mine. Hi, everybody. So, you need some dog treats. Jared's your guy. I know. I'm not saying if. You need dog treats, you got to get them from Jared. Good deal, guys. links are below. Call Jared. That's all it takes, man. Right? That's all it takes.
Yeah.
I know we're getting to almost an hour and a half in. Told you, man, it goes fast. We've been on like one really good subject that's so valuable. So to me, you, and the people listening, so I know it is. Are we leaving anything off the table you want to chat about? Because I can keep talking about what we're talking about. I'm having a good time.
We again talking about like the health of the treats and stuff. We actually partnered up with the local veterinarian that we take our dogs to. So the veterinarian, his name is Dr. Shepard. He's with For Loving Paws in Brazil, Indiana, and so he wrote a letter saying that how much he approves and likes our stuff and everything. That we actually include his letter that he wrote on our packaging. We asked
Mhm.
permission. He goes, "Oh yeah, if you want to use it, use it." And so not only do you have to take my word for it, like that's somebody that actually is in the business of the health of your pet. that that kind of deals with it and stuff. So because he's kind of generous to us, he like took time out of his day. We talked to him for a couple hours about trying to. We at the time we was trying to make a dog food, and we couldn't get it to where it was going to be cost effective for us to get all the stuff and make it and then turn around and sell it. Because if you go in stores now, Walmart, Target, all the stores, they have like a refrigerator section of like fresh dog food. That's what we wanted to do, even before those were out in the stores. And it takes a lot to do that, especially when you're doing it out of your house. But we was talking to them about there's so many people that say, "Oh, my dog's allergic to this. My dog's allergic to that." So I said, "Well, how many dogs do you see that actually have allergies?" And he goes, "Not that many." He goes, "Most of those are just people like that's their own thing." So when they say, "Oh, I want to be a vegetarian," like, well, they're not allergic to anything in the meat. That's their personal choice that they want to do that, and they want their dog to be a vegetarian because they are, or whatever it may be, and that's perfectly fine. But dogs need certain things, like people will be to where they want to be gluten free, so they try to make their dogs gluten free. Dogs actually need gluten in their diet. Like that's something that's essential to how a dog works. So we've we've been asked to make like gluten free treats and stuff, but it's not something that we go out and sell because we had to ask him, like, you know, is this a real thing? And he's like, no.
Yeah, it's good to have
So
that level of advisement.
yeah, so it was really good. Like you're kind of like looking at what your customer base is asking for, but then you got to look to see, well, if I actually do that, would it be worthwhile for me? Would I make a profit from it? Would I kind of lose
You're,
out?
you're making a terrific point. Here's why when you look out in the veteran world, and I'm not saying this just to Jared, but also to all the veterans out there who have a thing or a craft. There are so many, again, high caliber veterans out there that are like Navy SEAL this or Green Beret that. And it doesn't matter who they were. Yes, it does. I get it. But like what matters is that they're now partnering with somebody else out there who has a better brain. I'll say it this way, that you've got Navy SEALs partnering with scientists because the VA doesn't offer actual help to veterans medically, and the VA pushes medications and bad treatment. I'm not going to get on my soapbox on that. Bring it back to a positive. There are SEALs out there, Green Berets, MARSOC, and 160th, all this kind of stuff. And those guys are partnering as an individual with other people out there who are scientists or mental health professionals or other kind of not just mental health, but just health professionals, actually healthcare professionals who give a shit, and could be counselors, could be whatever. And so you're on the right track. What you're doing, Jared, is happening more organically in micro local, which is even better because you get that history of like, well, we knew each other. My dog likes this treat, and just so happens that it's made out of these things that are good for him, and my doctor says it is, and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, you're making some terrific points that sometimes the client isn't right. Sometimes the client has good intentions, but that could be somewhat illegal, immoral, maybe it doesn't work. So maybe it's not good for the actual third party, like the dog, So
Yeah, the saying that the customer is always right isn't the full
right.
saying. It's the customer is always right in matters of taste,
Yeah.
meaning that they're allowed to spend their money on something that doesn't mean that they can tell you what to do. So
Yeah. Well, but my main point is, and this is what Dan Bongino talks about all the time, is the Moneyball rule of baseball. Of if they hit good, why don't they hit good? So I'll say that to the veteran masses that are out there, that the government doesn't want to pay you your money. That's why they're not paying you your money. You have to now go through the paperwork to get your money. The government doesn't want you to have your own empire. That's why it's so fucking hard to be a small business owner. And the good news is that veterans, we're so service mindset and we've got such positive grit that once we have the right mentors in place and once we have the right manuals and guides and maps and stuff of how did you get your first million or how did you get that nonprofit launch, that kind of stuff. Once we have that, then it becomes more of an empire. So I want you to have your empire out there, but you have to start with having the right, like Jared, he's been bootstrapping it this whole time. And that's honestly how most of us have done it in our first couple of years is because, hey, since I'm now restricted by these situations of, like Jared mentioned earlier, his health and me and my things that I went through when I got out of service, those were restrictions that were put on me and put on Jared. And then you go, well, shit, life has to find a way. My kids need to fucking eat. I need to eat. And so what do I need to do? And I learned this in SEER school, bringing it into the basic needs. You need air, food, water. Start there. So you got to be able to breathe. So you got to stay above water. You need water for yourself and you need food. If you start with those basics and then everything else can expand from there, well, let me make sure I take care of myself and my family and those sorts of things. And anyway, but getting back to the big positive point of just, Jared, you're on the right track with you having your backstory. You've got a doctor that's now helping you out. Keep that fucking, you got the snowball going and now it's going to happen even faster. So just like I talk about bell curves all the time, the bell curve, you went through the hard shit and now it's going to go up.
Yeah.
And now you are your own governor, your own limiter. I'm going to say it that way, governor for like engines and shit. Not everybody's an engine person. So you're your own limiter. So you get to grow it in any which way you want to do it. And it sounds like you're doing it the right way. And you just need to have somebody who, like me, tells you that you are doing it the right way and that whatever you want works out. And again, going back to customers, always right.
Everybody definitely needs that. Everybody needs somebody to say, "Hey, you got a good idea. You're doing things right. Like, kind of keep it up," because your internal voice is only so loud.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got 10 people outside saying, "No, you can't do this," your internal voice, like it's only one voice, and it's eventually gonna get trampled. But if you got one other person standing out there, then you got your internal voice, you got this other person, like maybe somebody else joins in, and the people that are trying to keep it down. I had even family members that said that basically I couldn't do this. That I'm not afraid to walk away. That I don't need to keep people around because people feel the need to keep me down so they can somehow feel above me or whatever it may be. So I've had to make decisions in my life, and looking back on it, it's only helped me that I've been that way.
That's good stuff. I'm taking some notes on something because I want to introduce you to somebody. I'm trying to remember his name, Joe something or other. I'll think of it here in a second. So, weird story. So Joe and his business partner Jesse, which I'll make sure that my staff help me introduce you to these guys. You're gonna love this. So Joe, what's his name? Joe was part of an HBO documentary, and it was Joe and Ernie. That's what it's called. Ernie and Joe, Joe and Ernie. Ernie. Yeah. So if you guys out there look up Ernie and Joe or Joe and Ernie, it's an HBO documentary that was done prior to COVID. It was multiple years before that. So Joe is a veteran. Ernie is not. Joe is an Iraq veteran. I think he was in the Corps, if I remember correctly. And he saw a lot of bad shit. So the documentary is really good. He was a police officer in Houston or San Antonio, Austin, one of those, in Texas. I think it's out in San Antonio. Yes, San Antonio. Yeah, San Antonio or Austin, one of those two. Anyway, we'll circle back to that. That's how my mind works. Can't help it. I'm like zooming in on shit. All right, so Joe, he's my client. He was my client. Now, Joe and Jesse's his business partner, and they they were both cops, and then they started doing San Antonio. I know it's San Antonio now because San Antonio was a place that they have these like SWAT teams for a mental health call. So usually what happens is if somebody's
Sorry, phone ring.
so usually if there's some crazy person on a bridge, they're gonna call the police department, and some guy with a gun is gonna show up first, right? And what they did was created this mental health SWAT team, if I can call it that. And Joe was part of this first generation of creating this. And they would show up, and they're of course they'd have their ununiformed cops. I don't know how to call it that, but they're not undercover cops. They're cops, but they're not wearing like full blues. You know what I mean? So they show up on scene. They've got softer clothes on. They're not showing up with like just lights and fucking sirens flashing and shit like that because they know it's a mental health issue, or it could be a drug issue, it could be whatever imbalance issue, and that there's obviously a danger, but it's more of a danger of this person being misidentified and either shot or they fall off or whatever. They get too scared and fall off the bridge. Nobody wants that. So anyhow, they started doing this mental health SWAT team thing, and it grew pretty fast. And so now, as far as I know, Joe and Jesse have succeeded even further and expanded that into all these other training entities. They both have left the police force and they're out there training other municipalities on how to do that. So my point back to Jared is, what a great connection, and I'll have my staff connect you and Joe, and see if I can get Joe and Jesse on the podcast too. Rachel, by the way, but yeah, they're what a great connection. I mean, I'm just thinking, and I'm sure everybody else out there is too. If Jared can get a connection with the police force, with the right people at the police force who can say yes to something, because they're going to say yes to the fastest thing. Hey, I know Jared, and Jared works with Joe, and Joe and Jesse, they work with other blah, blah, blah. Okay, yes, right? That's how that works. The first 2 or 3 yeses are the ones that are the hardest to get through. Once you get through that, everybody else goes, oh, well, shit, well, if San Antonio's doing it, then yeah, we'll do it. Jared, let's get a contract going. So you got those different training entities there for canine. Then you've got the care dogs and all those training entities out there, and like we talked about earlier, the athletes, the more high performance dog. So it's, maybe this, I want to call it, maybe it's not for your lazy dog, maybe it's for your lazy dog or your athlete, whatever. You know what I mean? And a treat for your athlete. There you go, Jared, steal that. An athlete treat. It's an athlete treat. So but yeah, stuff like that, just that's all it takes is somebody who can go, all right, let me get that little wheel spinning and then just make that happen, So
Yeah.
I could see you with the LAPD super fast with so many places out in Texas, and we're only mentioning a few things just off the bat, but so I'm telling you, man, we're getting at about an hour 40 on this, and this is what happens. We get this far in, and we're like, oh my god, everything's happening so fast. We're like 5 minutes away from hanging up. It goes by fast. So, but yeah, man, that's what we're here to do. Like I said from the beginning, we're here to talk about my shit, your shit, our shit, all you guys shit out there too, and make it fucking happen. So I think we'll end there on that high note. But any last words or thoughts before we go to some behind the scenes stuff and keep recording? Anything? What else do you got for us or anything out there, Jared?
Well, Jack's my service dog. He might be my service dog, but I do say that he has basically saved my life. That there's times that we're like we was just talking about the people that are on the ledge, like of committed suicide or something. That it made me think, like, how many of those people could use a dog, could use some best friend that will love you unconditionally. Doesn't matter what you look like. Doesn't matter if you got your hair combed. Doesn't matter if you brush your teeth. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter anything. That dog will love you because you're you. Like that's all that matters. And that's kind of the note I want to end on. If you don't have a dog right now and you're feeling down
Any
or
which way.
whatever,
Yeah, any which way.
go out and find a puppy. Go
Yeah.
to the humane shelter and find a dog that it will probably save your life and you can save his.
I like that. And then there's like I say to my kids, every one of our cats has a person. So that's what it is. Well, all my pets have a person. So Amelia, she's got the fluffy dog, and um, Elena's got the one cat named Sushi and stuff. So every animal has a person, and
Yeah.
they it's just like in whatever the movie is where they're like they have to somewhat choose each other, that kind of thing. And what's nice is too when you have that, and I'm going to bring it back to Jared on this, is that when you've got whether you're in any which way. I mean, I'm a positive guy, so I don't usually need to be pulled back from any kind of fray. But I mean, I dodge bullets every day from just the world, just like everybody else. And but the it's nice having a pet, and you want those pets to be treated well as well. And like Jared said from the beginning, when you look at the back of a box or something for your animal, and you can't fucking say what the hell that word is, or many words, unfortunately, get talk to Jared. He'll get you hooked up on that and get your pet taken care of better. And I mean, especially if you've got any kind of limitations on, I've got clients who are missing limbs and missing eyeballs and stuff like that. And if you've got those levels of limitations, you don't want a pet or a pet food or a pet who's eating bad food. And then it's a, I always call it a care dog because they're caring for you. You don't want a care dog that's not being cared for. You don't have to scoop up and have a neighbor pay. I mean, geez, you don't need more stress of a dog or cat going through or whatever, any kind of pet going through any kind of bad tummy issues. It just it's not a good thing for anybody, and including the pet. So yeah, it's good stuff. Appreciate you, Jared. All right, brother. We'll do some behind the scenes stuff and make sure everybody out there looks up Jared's stuff. We're gonna put that on the links below while the producers do all that stuff. Jared, man, I'll tell you what, it's been a fast almost 2 hours, and I look forward to having you back on, and we'll chat more about some other stuff. And uh, I'm looking forward to some other like more group connections with the people that you get connected with, and catching up on the people that you get connected with, and you expanding your empire and letting everybody else out there know that you're expanding your empire, because it's such a great idea. So
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate you. And Rachel, we'll go ahead and note that it's about an hour 43 at this time, and we'll do some behind the scenes stuff. So now we're behind the scenes, an hour 43, almost 44. So, all right, brother, what do you got for me?
All kinds of. I got more stories in the Bible, but I you're talking about how like the silent professionals. Like I was thinking that like out of all the stuff that I've done, like I probably haven't told my son 10% of it. That I I don't really see the need to talk about a lot of stuff that there's certain things that I know he won't understand. There's certain things that I just don't want to have to remember. But that's this is a good distraction for me, I guess. Having the business.
That's a good thing. You gotta do what's good for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all you can do. That's all you get. You get the skin suit for only so long, then you get to forever is a long time.
Yeah.
You're only in the skin suit for a itty tiny bit.
Well, and that's kind of hitting another part where like I had to tell somebody not too long ago, and I can't remember who I was talking to, but I was like, it's like a different thing that you have to make. Like, how did I put it? You have to, it has to be okay. Like going to Iraq, it has to be okay that I might not come home. Like you have to be okay with that before you go, because if you're focusing on that while you're in country, you're not focusing on what's going on around you. So you had to you had to kind of come to terms with that beforehand.
I hear you. Well, something I thought of while we were still on live camera, but I'll tell you now, I'm starting we're starting an affiliate program, and I'm catching my words because I'm trying to make sure I'm saying the right word. So we're starting an affiliate program where you'll get a kick out of who my affiliate manager is. So he currently works with the FBI. Because like I said, at this point where you get to past growing and you got to keep your business growing and get past going and get into growing. So my new affiliate manager, he's one of the FBI directors of aviation, and he's a former 160th pilot. So like Black Hawk Down shit. So you can imagine how magnetizing
the SOAR guys, isn't that what the SOAR?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how magnetic it's going to be having him as the manager of all the affiliate stuff. And our goal is to have within the next year at least 80 affiliates. And what I mean by that is even at a bare ass minimum, you know how like Dan Bongino will promote whatever, Yeti or some shit like that. Hey, go to yeti.com and /Bongino or some shit like that, right? Those little promo codes. So that's what we're going to do in I'll give you a great example because who does this? Not Black Rifle, but it's Nine Line Apparel does this. On their website, they've got Nine Line Apparel website. They've got their affiliate program, stuff like that. And they used to have this other descriptions listed there of what it looked like. And there's with the military, we've got the 3 tiers. We've got tier 3, tier 2, tier 1. And so we're going to go on a tier system because that's what all the branches have. So those 3 tiers. You don't have teams, you don't have groups, you've got tiers. So every group out or every military branch has just those 3 tiers. So that's why we're going off that model because it's a proven one for another business out there, veteran-owned business. So we're adopting that same model with affiliates. So my point back to you is you're going to know more about this affiliate program so that like as we keep moving forwards, our relationship between you and I, that my link is on your website kind of a thing, your link is on my website kind of a thing, and just it's that simple. Like, / Barkery, and boom, promo code. Like we're growing together. How cool would that be?
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. All right, brother. I gotta pivot here and get ready for another meeting. Anything else for me?
No, but we need to chat a lot more though.
Yeah, I agree. So I'll have my staff invite you to a consult call to work with me on helping get your empire going and growing. And you already got it going. You've been through the hardship, man. So let's get that motherfucker expanded in the way you want to. You know what I mean? That's what I guide my clients to is it's whatever you want to do. I show you what you can be and you just do it your way.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fair to you and your family. So, but my staff will email that. Rachel, can you make sure you email him about that link? Get on my calendar for Empire Consult. She'll do that. We'll get her squared away. All right, brother. Definitely appreciate you. We'll talk in here very, very soon.
Yeah. Thank you.